You strip the ego and just open yourself up to things, and good things will come.
Yeah.
You need to really find out what you enjoy doing.
Instead of the math skills, go get life skills.
This might be the biggest thing any of us have created.
You never fail. Have you really succeeded?
Oh, you broke the clapper.
Yeah, I know. Not the first time that's happened.
Wow.
Travis Mills, man, so good to have you on the Find Your Grind podcast.
Thanks for
you to
having me.
Be here in Los Angeles. I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time.
Man. I haven't seen both of you in a long time.
Yeah.
No, man, I see you on Instagram all the time.
Same.
I know.
The world we live in, dude. I see you every day.
Yeah.
Kind of annoying. No,
Well, it's
just
good to be
kidding.
in front of you guys.
Yeah, man. I've had a ton of respect for you always, man. Everything you do in TV, entertainment, music, podcasts,
Thank you.
clothing, culture, what else? Everything.
I think
This
you
guy
hit
does
the
a little
nail-
bit of
you
everything.
hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And I remember I had so much fun playing that show with you a couple years back for that Christmas
It was
thing
a
we
Christmas
did. That
thing,
was
the
cool.
toy drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a toy drive. I remember that. It was
Yeah,
amazing. You
that
still
was
have my
fun.
PA system.
Do I really?
At your studio.
Do I?
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
My PA system I've had since I was 15.
Didn't you come get that?
No.
Oh, boy.
I just went and recorded there. But yeah, the speakers are still there.
Oh, boy. All right, well.
You know, there's a bit of construction that happened over there, right?
Construction. Construction.
Oh, my God.
So it's this is actually because we've all known each other, man, and I've watched your journey too, and it's been like one of those like get there, pivot there kind of journeys, which I think like a lot of people have, but like we want to take it back, and I know from the days of where you grew up snowboarding, and you grew up knowing a company that I was like started back in the day, and like for me that's cool to me.
Not only like repped Grenade, but like my first truck. My first truck, I had a Grenade, the big Grenade sticker with the skeleton hand. There you go. Boom. That was on the whole back of
Dingo's
my
leg is
truck,
exposed right now.
My rear window. That was that big sticker was on the back of my truck. Like I was 16 years old. Just got my driver's license and bought a new pair of Grenade gloves and bought a big Grenade sticker. And
That's
slapped
so
that
cool.
on the back of my truck.
Were you just a
dude.
fan? Were you a fan, or were
Just
you?
the best, dude? The best, everything. Yeah, jackets, the gloves, everything.
You're looking at him right
Yeah,
now.
So
I
cool.
know.
Yeah.
So let's take that back. It was Riverside, right? Is it-
Riverside, California.
That's where you were born.
Yeah.
Raised.
Born and raised.
What's it like growing up in Riverside, California?
There's not a ton of things to do there. Obviously, it's not LA, but I'm grateful for that. I grew up in Orange Groves, and so it was a lot of like orange fights. It was a lot of like going to the skate park. I rode go-peds, like motor scooters.
I love GoPeds.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And I really had to. I had to keep myself busy to stay out of trouble, man, because it's very easy to get into trouble in a place like Riverside. And so my thing, when I was 15 was I started a band and started playing music, and my house was my parents were like gracious enough to be like, yo, you can practice here, you guys can all hang out here, like they would cook me and my friends all food when everyone was there, and they were like, yo, we'd rather you and your friends stay out of trouble and be here where we can kind of keep an eye on you and make as much noise as you guys want, because that's better than you guys being out on the streets, and doing God knows what.
What did you play in the band?
I sang.
You sang, yeah.
Played guitar just horribly.
Okay, okay.
And dude, yeah, I did that for. Until I started my music project, the reason why I started my music project was because all those other dudes didn't want to come to band practice anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But like honestly, like my mom was the same. It was like, you're gonna be doing it, do it under my roof.
Yep.
Type of style. And I feel like that is like we need more parents like that to like let their kids live a little. And whatever happens under the roof, it's like you're gonna go out and do it anyway. Let's not get in trouble. Make the safe house as we called it. And do what you do, and you're not going to get in trouble, and everybody can grow up. And I think we need more parents like that.
Were your parents cool? Like about where did you guys practice?
My parents are my best friends. We practice in my garage.
Okay.
Now look, I'm not saying I didn't get into trouble.
Yeah.
Because I got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, which is a good thing. I feel like kids who kind of don't cross that get into trouble line get a little weirder later in life.
The kids who suppress it and hold it in, you know, that's when they move out on their own. You know, they're 19, 20, 21.
And then they're like, what?
And they go overboard. I saw
Yeah.
it time and time again. Like, I had friends who were so sheltered by their parents, right? They weren't allowed to stay the night at their friend's house. They weren't allowed to, you know, go see rated R movies or do certain things.
Yeah.
And they become... I'm not even going to call them adults because at 18 I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
But they become young adults and they all of a sudden have this newfound sense of freedom and they don't know what to do with it.
And they take that like, oh, should I go? I just had 2 drinks and it turned into 8. And then it's like, you've lost
you
your
get in
mind.
trouble.
Yeah. And then it gets in trouble.
Yeah, then you get in trouble. What was school? What was like going to high school in Riverside like?
I went to private school.
Okay.
I got kicked out of 2 of them.
Good for you.
Not
Good for
surprising.
you.
But listen,
For what though? For what?
Dude,
Yeah.
I would wear like a secular band. For secular music is non-Christian music, right? So I'd wear like an AFI T-shirt, and
Okay.
I'd get suspended.
Right.
You
didn't
know,
do anything
and
wrong.
so to me it was like
I love
was
it.
like, dude, come on. Like I'd wear a Blink 182 shirt and I'd get sent home. You know, or I'd have detention, and so you know, my mom at the same time was like, yo, this makes no sense. Like, I don't want you here either. So they gave me
Strict school. Jeez.
Very
That's
strict.
crazy.
No AFI?
Yeah.
no
Blink
AFI, no
182?
Blink 182.
Yeah, you're
out.
And
No Davey? Davey's great.
I actually ran
vegan.
into him a few years ago. He's really cool, by the way. But yeah, so like middle of 10th grade, I'll never forget this because I started acting, you know, and so God bless my parents, but they would pull me out of school. I'd get an audition. They'd pull me out of school, and it'd be like an hour and a half drive down to LA for like a 5-minute audition. And then you'd have an hour and a half drive back. So one day I had an audition, and my dad picked me up from school, so I had to leave early. And I'll never forget this. We're driving to LA, and I get a phone call from my mom, and my principal's on the phone, and they said that I stole an iPod out of some kid's backpack in the locker room at $80. And I had an iPod. I had my own iPod. So I was like, no, that's false. So they're like, all right, well, you need to come in tomorrow morning to my office and we'll talk about it. And so I went in, and this guy was not listening to me. And the only reason why they thought that it was me was because I had like a hall pass to leave class and leave, and somehow the iPod got stolen at, you know, during that hour window where no one was supposed to be like in the locker room or something. And dude, I lost it because I was like, look, I have my own iPod right here. Like I don't need to steal money. Like I've never stolen anything before in my life.
Yeah.
And I got so worked up. I cussed at my principal, and I was like, yo, this, you know, I probably said like, this is bull, you know, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And
You can say it.
And yeah, I was like, this is bullshit, dude.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, you
yeah.
can go screw yourself.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, you can either leave right now, like just stop going to school here, or you can finish out this quarter and you will not be asked to come back.
Was this school number 2 or 1?
This is one.
Okay.
And my parents were like, wait, like, well, we're not going to send him to school at a place that like obviously doesn't want him because he's going to be alienated for the rest of the time here. So they found an even more stricter school. And I had to wear uniforms.
Right. Dude, hey, me and you, dude. I wore uniforms.
I only went there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Australian and I have to wear a uniform too. All right?
Hey!
Get out of here, guys. I
All
had a
3 of
tie
us.
and the whole thing.
All
dude,
3 of us.
it
Where are
was
those
even
photos?
worse.
Get out of here.
It was even worse, man. Yo, do you think like not being able to wear a Blink 182 shirt is bad? Like you have to go with like a polo shirt tucked in
Yeah.
and everything.
Like a
Yeah,
pulled up socks.
Exactly.
Actual dress shoes, like the shoes you had to like polish.
so good.
And this school, they could hit you with paddles.
Yeah, you just do it back
What?
home too.
Yes.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you got like reprimanded, if you got sent to the principal's office, she could hit you with paddles.
Stop.
I don't think that happens anymore, right?
No,
Like, that kid know what happened.
No,
No
definitely
way.
Like if some kid got paddled 2019,
No.
they would crucify that teacher.
You could not do that now. I think, yeah, dude, they used to walk by and like hit our hands with rulers and stuff.
Yeah.
I just think back and I'm like, wow. Anyways, I had a
I think
buddy-
that was the Christian or that element
Catholic-
to it.
Christian and Catholic schools,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah, yeah,
I got
yeah,
sent
yeah.
to the blue chairs. There was like these 2 chairs that were blue, and you got sent to the blue chairs if you did bad things, which were right outside the principal's office. And when I was in 3rd grade, I got sent to the blue chairs a couple times. And mom was just terrified. She was just like tears, just like, my son went to the blue chairs.
no paddles though.
No paddles.
Lucky.
No
You're lucky,
paddles.
man.
Yeah.
So you that's the second school?
So the paddle school is where I got sent next, and I was only for 2 weeks because I had a friend who actually was at my previous school, and he got transferred to the new one, and it's like my first day, and I'm hanging out with him, and these girls that were in our class I think like they were like making fun. They were, I don't know, they were like talking trash behind me, and my buddy turns around and he started making fun of them, like trying to stick up for me. Well, this girl's boyfriend ended up being in like a gang, like a legitimate street gang in Riverside. Okay?
Because for those people who don't know, Riverside's a little sketchy.
It's sketchy, dude. I would say this. I'm more scared, like going back home, like being at a gas station at like 1 a.m. I'm way more scared to be at a Riverside gas station than
like
LA.
that now?
Still today.
Now today?
Yes.
Still today.
wow.
The 909 is like not your friend.
Yeah.
No, like, yeah, I would much rather be at like any gas station in LA than one in Riverside.
Do you
at,
guys,
like,
do
1
mom and
a.m.
dad still live?
Still live there? Yeah,
okay.
no, I go there all the time.
Yeah.
But
That's why
yeah,
he still has a big truck.
Yeah, yeah. No, totally.
Let him in.
Has to have that
If he
thing.
came in a nice little Mercedes, they're not going to let him in.
it's a rite of passage, dude.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And so yeah, her boyfriend was in like a legitimate street gang, and she was like, just wait. And that Friday, it literally like my first week there. That Friday, her boyfriend, he did not go there, by the way.
Yeah.
This car rolls.
He was not
up-
in private school.
Not in private
Yeah.
school. I don't even think he was in school.
Yep.
But he rolls up in a car, and this it was like a scene out of Boys in the Hood, right? Rolls up to, we're all standing out because there was like a 7-Eleven by the school, and so like after school we'd go there and get candy and stuff. And we're hanging out. I'm 15, dude, and this car pulls up and he rolls down the window, and it's me and my friend, and they pull a gun out of the window and point it at us, right? And everyone just starts freaking out, right? So the next week, go to school. Obviously, principal hears about it. Teachers all hear about it. And I got expelled for putting other kids in danger.
Through like
Through something that I didn't even do, right?
Association.
Like, it's just association. Like it was all just directed at me. And yeah, I had to leave. I left that school in 2 weeks.
Wow. They wanted you out.
They wanted me out, and then yeah, after that, I went
Dang.
to charter school,
Yep.
which was pretty much for like dropouts and kids who got in trouble and stuff like that. But it was dope for me because one, I got to pick my own curriculum. So like my PE was snowboarding.
Yep.
Like I
See,
could
that's
log-
what's up. That's
I could,
cool.
I could
That's a
log my own
blessing that
hours. My history class, you know, I could do it all on like one thing. So like I did my entire like semester for history was World War II, and then they had a program where I could actually start going to community college at 16, and one college credit counted as 2 high school credits.
Sounds like the school you should have been going to. Out of the
little
gate.
bit, right?
From the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Like
And so I graduated high school like with a diploma, not a GED or
Yep.
anything like that, at 16 and a half.
Wow.
that's what's up.
So I got to finish way earlier than everyone that I, was going to
Yeah,
school
well,
with.
right. Wow. It's
and
kind of.
I mean, you mentioned that your parents were bringing you to auditions. Like, go back to that. Like, what do you mean? Like, what was going on at that time as well during school? Like,
I wanted to act, man. So
Yeah.
like when I was 13, I found a young actor studio in LA, and I did like some commercials, and I did an indie film when I was 15, and that indie film I played a drummer, and I I lied to my parents. I told them that I had to get ear piercings for this role.
Yeah.
Right. So that was like my in, like how to get ear piercings.
Dang.
And so once we wrapped like this like short film, I just started stretching my ears. So like,
Yeah, because you had the.
I had 2-inch plugs.
but that was the
Yeah.
start. It was,
That
it was
the
because
start.
of an audition.
Yes, it was
There's
because
like
of
a
like the
role.
short film,
That's cool.
and I like finagled my way. I was very mischievous, and I was very, convincing. And so, yeah, I got my ears pierced, and then I started stretching my ears slowly but surely. And then by that time, I was like 16 and a half, 17. I had an inch plugs, and my parents are like, "Wait, you didn't go
The
do
role
that."
is
Yeah.
over a year ago.
And then after that, I was just like, well, I can't really act anymore with these plugs, so I might as well just start playing music. And yeah, that's what I did.
Why acting? Like, I'm just putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, I guess, or like, was that just interesting for you? And then you went out and
100%.
found an opportunity. Like, how did you do that? For most people, they wouldn't understand how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, music. My grandpa gave me an acoustic guitar at 5, right? And I'd wanted to be in bands and just perform. Like, I think my first show I ever played, I was 5, and my grandma got remarried to, my step grandpa. I call him my grandpa. But I wrote a song when I was 5 and played it at their wedding, like on stage. God bless them for letting a 5-year-old get up and sing at their wedding. It was probably trash. I gotta find the video.
Who cares? You were 5. You were crushing it. Yeah, it was adorable. I'm sure.
I just loved being on stage. I loved being in front of people. Like school theater. I was always like a part of like the programs and stuff like that. And so when I was like, yo, like I want to do this. I want to try and do this for real. And so my parents found me. I remember when I was like 13, I had to prepare a monologue, and they found me an agent that would they're like, all right, we'll bring him in here. He'll prepare this, and if he's good, then we'll represent him. And I went and did it. And the agency was called Amsel, Eisenstadt and Frazier, AEF. It was a big child agency. I'm not sure if they're still around. And they took me on, and I did a couple commercials, and then I did that short film, and then stress years.
Yeah.
And then
your parents they're probably pretty supportive in that process.
Very supportive.
You know what I mean?
Incredibly supportive, man.
Yeah.
Because my dad's parents really weren't.
Yeah.
And so he wanted, he just wanted to be a good dad and wanted to see me happy. So I say that, I've said that, my whole life. Like we didn't always, we weren't always best friends. Obviously I pissed my parents off a lot and did a lot of stupid things, but they, they always put like mine and my sister's interests first.
Isn't it crazy how much it comes down to home life and upbringing that really does craft so much of your life, like in the future of where things go, right? Of like how many things you do now probably was stemming from all those little things that started to add up back then.
And my parents were like never the ones to be like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
If I was like, yo, I want to be an astronaut, they'd be like, cool, you're going to make the best astronaut
There's
ever.
no reason why it couldn't be possible. And that framework is rad.
And
super cool.
And I have friends who their parents are nothing like that.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't have self-esteem or self-confidence. And that goes all the way back to childhood, being like, well, I'm not good enough, or that's not possible for somebody like me. And I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're such sponges at that young age that we don't, you're the parents or the elders, people don't realize like what's actually happening, but you're sponging it all in. And if you have supportive parents, it's going to help down the road in so many different areas. And then you got people that, their parents or mother or father have left them, and it's a heartache, but that heartache has made them become who they are.
It can be you can have the exact opposite experience as me, and you can funnel that into motivation.
Exactly.
Right. To do incredible things.
Exactly.
I was just lucky that I had people who supported me dreaming about weird things. And that just instilled something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the dream, you still had to make the dream possible. So let's go back to you're 16. You've essentially got credits to graduate high school. You graduate high school.
Yep.
What's in your head? You've been playing in a band, but you've also probably got to think about work. Where's the balance there?
So I always worked at skate shops and coffee shops.
Yep.
God bless
so
you.
I worked at a band board shop. I worked at Active Ride shop, and then I worked at Starbucks.
Yep.
And so once I graduated, I was 16 and a half. I didn't really have to go to high school. I started taking like graveyard shifts at Starbucks. So I could go into work at 2, 3 in the morning, and I'd work till 10 a.m. And I did that for 2.5 years.
Why that time frame?
Well, because they needed shifts.
Okay.
I worked at a 24-hour Starbucks, and I just wanted to make money.
Yeah. Just to make money, or was that going to go to?
No, dude, I didn't have a
something?
plan. Look, growing up at Riverside, I didn't even, after the acting thing, I kind of, I quote unquote quit that, or at least I thought I was quitting that.
Yeah.
I never thought that people really got record deals, or I never, playing in bands like punk rock and stuff, it was such like a subculture. I never thought I'd be in a major label, recording studio or anything like that. I was just like, oh, that happens in the movies. But I still, I wanted a microphone, and, I wanted a PA system and cool things like that. So yeah, I just worked, man. And I always wanted tattoos. I knew I did. I just wanted to be my own boss, and I wanted to look however I wanted to look. And, I wanted to kind of make my own hours and my own schedule. And there was this girl that used to come into my Starbucks all the time, and it'd be like midnight, and she was close to my age. She might have been like a year or two older than me, and she was always studying, and I'd kind of flirt with her a little bit. She was cute, I
love that.
And so I'd be like, yo, what are you studying? And I'd look at her books, and she was like, oh, I'm in cosmetology school. And I was like, oh, that's dope. And, being in punk rock, I had leopard hair, I had mohawks, I had every color hair I could dye my hair, I did it. Like the manic panic.
You and I would have been best
You two are
friends,
like,
bro.
I'm looking into a mirror, but I see the two of you idiots.
It's so funny, man. Yeah, I like had the red mohawk in private school, and then like I like when I was young, I always knew I wanted tattoos, and I knew I wanted to get piercings and all this stuff, and it was just like literally from when I was like 6 years old, I remember kind of feeling that way, which is interesting, just kind of like how you're born to be this different side of things, whatever. It's funny.
So you're creeping on this girl at Starbucks.
And I'm like, cosmetology school. I'm like, I cut my own hair. I dye my own hair. Like, I could do this. And I'm 17 at the time. And I'm like, okay. So, like, I go home and I tell my parents, and I'm like, yo, because I was taking art classes at RCC, like Riverside Community College, and I was working at Starbucks because I thought I wanted to be a tattoo artist, and but like I was never incredible at drawing. Like right. I sucked at drawing, and I was like, yo, I kind of want to go to cosmetology school. My parents were like, what? And I found a cosmetology school in Riverside, and literally like the next week I quit Starbucks and I went and signed up, and yeah, dude, I went to cosmetology
Had
school.
you ever cut hair before?
Just my own.
You cut your own hair?
Yeah, well, like, I'd shave the sides of my head for a mohawk and stuff, but never never like did my sister's hair or my mom's hair. I never did like
nobody else's hair.
No, never.
Yeah.
But my mom, one of her her hairstylist was like one of her friends, and she was like, oh, Nikki makes great money doing this, and once you graduate hair school, she'll definitely let you work in her salon. And so it was like cool, and I was like, cool, I know all these hairstylists that have a bunch of tattoos, the dope hair, they could do whatever they want, kind of be your own boss. So I went, signed up, started hair school, and so I'm 17, start cosmetology school. At the same time, I got a MacBook. I saved up my money from Starbucks and stuff, and I bought a MacBook Pro. And that was my first. I had PCs before that.
It's been like version 1 of this thing, right?
It was, dude. It was like an old.
It was white, right?
I don't even think it was a MacBook Pro. It was just like
It was like a white MacBook.
Yes.
I still
it was a Mac.
I keep all my Apple products, so I have all my computers and phones. So I've got them from the beginning up.
Oh, the only thing I kept is I kept the iPod that I was accused of stealing.
Good.
So you had a Macintosh.
Yes, I had a Macintosh. And so I started going to hair school, and I started.
Did you like it?
Oh, dude, I loved it.
Because it is like a lot of people don't know this, but like it's a form of art. It really
100%.
is on like a whole other level, and like you were like actually like knocking on the door of something that now has become worldwide famous of. People like yourself covered in tattoos that have a good look and that trim thing that all over the world now is like a thing. People want to get their hair cut or their beard trimmed by like that style of person.
Well, so I started going there, and at that time too, the guys, like I said, the guys in my band, they wanted to go get drunk. They had girlfriends. They didn't want to show up to band practice anymore. Because like, dude, we didn't have fans. We're a local band. We paid to play shows. We sold tickets to play Battle of the Bands and stuff like that. So I got the MacBook and I started teaching myself GarageBand.
Yep.
And then I was going. They call them state board schools because they pretty much it's a hair school, but they teach you just enough to pass your state board test. And the state board test is what gives you your license to be a cosmetologist. And then you can go to a salon, and then you can kind of apprentice, and you'll learn like how to really color hair. You can kind of apprentice under a specialist, and they'll really teach you how to be in a salon. Did not like that school, right? It's like super dramatic, and so I finagled the system. So you need 1,600 hours to go and take the state board test. So I was at the state board school in Riverside for like 800 or 900 hours, and a friend of mine was going to Paul Mitchell in Costa Mesa, which Paul Mitchell is like.
Oh, I know.
It is the Harvard.
Boss.
It's the Harvard of hair.
Yeah.
He's the boss.
It's literally the Harvard of hair, right?
The Harvard of hair.
Harvard of hair.
And she was like, yo, it's really hard to get in here. She's like, but I got you a spot, like if you want to come. And I finagled it to where to finish the hours there. Cause like, dude, if you go, I didn't have the money to go there for, 1,600 hours. Like that school, probably $25,000, $30,000 to like go there.
That's not Starbucks.
No. And the state board school was, $8,000 for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I did like 900 hours at that state board school. So I only have like 700 left to do a Paul Mitchell, and I got a student loan, and I was able to get in. So I get in, and just night and day, right? They teach you, I mean, cutting, coloring. Like I was doing perms at the Riverside one, right? Like they don't do that there. And so all of a sudden I'm around, these hair artists.
Yep.
I'm around, and dude, I thrived, man. My cutting instructors were like me. They had knuckle tattoos, and they were dope. Like, and
You fit in.
I fit in, and it was great, and I learned so much. And at the same time, I started taking instrumentals from MySpace and the internet, and I didn't even have a microphone, dude. I was just recording into my computer. Like I would like literally
Straight into the speakers,
just straight into the to the built-in microphone. I'd plug in headphones and just do that. And like I was using the janky GarageBand auto tune. This is like T-Pain, Lil Wayne. Like this is like Lollipop era. Like
2008, 2009.
You know,
This is DIY, like straight up, right into the speaker. I love that. I love that.
Just so, and I'm like, I have this like little tiny studio apartment next to the school that like my student loans were like helping me pay for and stuff, and so I'm like recording in the closet of like this like little my studio apartment. And by the way, I'm like 17 and a half, not living with my parents, right? That's where I got into partying. Like hair school. Hair school, dude, everybody is partying. And then Paul Mitchell, I was only supposed to be there for maybe like 9 months. I ended up being there for like a year and a half because like it's by hours, right? So like you got to clock in, you got to clock out.
You were prolonging that experience.
Dude, to like they were like, okay, you can't come here anymore. Like you got to finish.
I wish I had a school experience like that. I always wanted to get as far out of school as I possibly could. It just wasn't for me. I wish I had a cool school to like show up to and was excited to be there.
It was.
I mean, you hit on something that you liked, So,
exactly. And what's dope is like I went to school with 450 girls, and I was one of 2 straight guys.
Yeah, I mean,
my goodness
back it up
gracious.
a little bit. Back it up a little bit.
No wonder.
It's very distracting.
Yeah.
Very
No
distracting.
wonder you didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I didn't do those 70 hours. Are you kidding me? Not me.
And yeah, man. So I'm going to hair school, and I'm almost done. And at the same time, I'm recording.
You're kind of like you're writing song, and you're doing it in your closet.
I'm literally holding a computer and like singing into it.
At this point in your head, did you know that you were gonna make a career out of this?
Oh God, no. Listen, so
Yes.
I made a MySpace.
It was
page.
for fun, right? Like you were just having fun.
I was just having fun, man.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing like all these things on MySpace because I don't even think Facebook. I don't even think Facebook was around.
No,
Definitely
Twitter
not.
wasn't around.
It was MySpace for sure.
And so I'm looking at all these Hollywood Undead. I'm looking at all these things on MySpace, that are blowing up.
Yeah.
And so I made a MySpace page, and so I put up a freestyle that I did over like a Fergie and will.i.am beat,
Lit.
and I posted it, and dude, it just started getting like thousands and thousands of plays, right? And I'm like, oh, like this is weird, this is crazy. And I did that like 3 or 4 times, just posted these horribly, like just awful songs, man. Like
Where'd you find the beats?
Just on like YouTube,
pulled
like
them
just or like Mega Upload.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? LimeWire. Like
Yeah,
stuff like
LimeWire.
that.
Dude, you're throwing like
LimeWire.
you're throwing
Remember that?
names right
Dang.
now.
I used to
do
go on
remember that.
LimeWire and like I'd like look for like
Yeah.
T-Pain instrumentals, and some of them would like still have like his like background vocals in there.
I'm looking at Austin right now. It's like Austin's 20 years old. He has no idea.
You know what LimeWire is?
No idea.
Oh, dude,
No idea.
If you want your computer to blow
know what
up
hey, do you know what-
unexpectedly, go on LimeWire and download like a gig of music.
Do you know what Napster is, Austin? Oh my God. It's okay. It's all right. We love him.
And so so I posted these like 3 or 4 just awful songs, but they somehow they started getting hits, and the day that I went to go take my state board test to get my license, a buddy of mine owned a clothing company. This is now this is 2009.
Yep.
So I'm like 18, 19, I finished school at like 19 and a half. And I had to wait a little bit till I could like take my state board test, because it's like kind of a process to like get your spot, and like you got to go down to Glendale and like do this whole testing thing. So I think it's like 2008, 2009. a buddy of mine had a clothing company that he was launching, and he paid for 2 spots on a tour bus for Warped Tour, and he bought, a spot to sell T-shirts, like as a brand, on the tour.
Yeah.
So he bought an Easy Up tent, he bought a foldable table, and he bought 500 T-shirts. And he needed someone, to go and sell the T-shirts for him. And he was like, yo, if you want to sell the T-shirts for me and work for me, I'll let you sleep on this tour bus. Huh. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, that sounds good.
2009?
2009. And then my other friend had a way bigger clothing company, and he was like, yo, if you do all the inventory and also sell and help me break down and set up because he had a double tent. So he was doing it big. He had 2 tents at Warped Tour.
You had a 20 by 20.
He had a 20 by 20. Okay?
Yeah.
And he was like, if you do the inventory and you break down and set up every day for me, I will let you play. You can play 10 minutes a day. You can plug into the generator. I have a sound system here, and you can play,
in the tent?
In the tent.
God, I love it.
Okay?
Sick.
So I'm like, dope. So
you're on Warped Tour.
Hold on. No, not yet.
Not
so
yet. Instead of sell T-shirts and fucking count them out.
So I go and I'm going to take my skateboard test, and my parents are like, cool, so you're about to get your license. They line me up the job with my mom's hairstylist, and cool, you're going to go work in the salon. I'm like, hold on. I have a MySpace page, and it's getting a couple thousand plays a day. And my parents are like, what's that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's like music and stuff. And they're like, dude, you just went to school for a year and a half, 2 years to be a hairstylist. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, just trust me on this. And they're like, okay. And, at this time, I'm not working at Starbucks. So, they're helping me make my car payment. They're paying for my cell phone.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, yo, 1 year. If you come back and you don't want to work in the salon, 1 year,
But that's super cool, by the way. Take us.
Oh,
that's really cool.
Dude, they were the most,
said,
they were the most understanding, right? So I go take my skateboard test. The day that I took it, I pass it. I get my cosmetology license. I leave from the testing facility to Pomona for the first day of Warped Tour. Clock in at work, help my buddy set up his double tent, count in all the inventory, go to the other T-shirt company, count in all the inventory, set it up. At 4:15, I go get my little MacBook that I started all this on. Mind you, the night before, I burned 200 CDs of these 4 awful songs.
Yep.
Write my MySpace link on there. Write the name of my EP. Buy plastic sleeves.
Was it T Mills or Travis Mills at this point?
T-Mills. It was T-Mills. And I needed a name.
Yeah.
And on my credit card or on my debit card, it said my middle name's Tatum, so it said Travis T Mills. And so when I was making a page, it was just T Mills. Yeah, I didn't want my real name. Yeah. I don't know. I was just like whatever.
Yeah.
And so I burned all these CDs, and dude, I went on tour. I was not even Kevin Lyman, who didn't even know who I was. I wasn't even an official performer. Yeah. There were some days on the tour where the fire department wouldn't let me play.
Where did you perform there?
In a tent.
That's what I'm saying.
And my first time performing, dude, was in front. I'm not kidding. There was 6 people.
I'm sure,
in there,
yeah.
And they were there to buy T-shirts. They weren't even. They didn't even know who I was. They didn't know anything, and they were there to buy T-shirts. And so every single morning, I'd wake up at 6 a.m. I'd go and find them their tent spots. Because you know Warped Tour, it sucks, and you got to wake up early and set up, your merch tent and all that stuff. So I'd wake up at 6, I'd go set up the tent spots for them, set up the table, I'd count in the merch, I'd go back to the bus that I was just renting a bunk spot on, and I'd burn CDs for the day. Then I'd go to the front of the tour, before people got in, and I'd walk the line with a CD player and headphones, and I'd put my headphones on people and be like, buy my EP for $5.
Yeah.
So I did that for 2 weeks till I got enough. I got $500, and then my buddy who owned the clothing company, I went through his printer and I printed 80 T-shirts. Right, I made a design on Photoshop, printed 80 T-shirts, and I did that for 60 days straight.
By the way, probably the most fun 60 days you've had,
dude.
You know what I'm saying? It sounds crazy now where it's oh my God, printed CDs and all this stuff. But dude, in that moment, you were probably so hyped.
I was stoked. I probably slept 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but dude, I was on tour with No Effects.
Yeah.
And, these bands Taking Back
You were looking
Sunday.
at, yeah.
No, but these bands that I grew up listening to, right?
Totally.
And and they're yo, what's up, Travis? right? And they're like, oh, cool, you're trying to make music and stuff. And so I'm around, like, in my mind, rock stars.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Big
just the biggest artists ever. And then not only that, but like I met artists who then went on to like really pop off and like, you know, do things and we'll always have that like first year together.
Yeah.
Right. Who else was in that era?
Dude, I think Katy Perry did it the year before me. But it was like I know NoFX was like the big one. Taking Back Sunday.
Of course,
The
yeah.
bus I was on was Attack.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was like their first big tour, right? This was like their first album. They like started to blow up. And I didn't know who they were. I just was like sleeping on their bus, became friends with those dudes. But I got to sit side stage and watch them, you know, command 2,000 people.
Yeah.
And then I'd walk over to like a tent with like 7 people in there and like do my thing.
Yeah. Why was the music thing the direction you went? Like you just went through this whole school that you loved and you're about to go do this thing. Like why suddenly pivot to this? Oh, I had a couple plays on MySpace and I'm just going to go on the road now. And
Because I knew if I didn't do it then, when else was I going to do it?
Yeah.
but
Like it was like low key.
but that's
like,
so young though too to say that.
the coolest summer camp ever.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because I had grown up paying to go to Warped Tour, and it's like, wait, I could work it.
Yeah.
I could sell T-shirts
Yeah.
and like just go there for free and like
Yeah.
be side stage and like look at these like bands that like I idolize.
Yeah.
And you know, play some songs.
So what was
Yeah.
it like by the end of that tour?
Oh, dude, the tent started filling up, man.
Right?
The tent.
People started showing up to the tent.
I'd say like my first show was like literally 6 people. I'd say by the end, because you know it loops back around to California.
Yeah.
I'd say like 200 kids in a
Wow.
tent. And you know, I met my first fans standing in line. So it'd be like, yo, man, you know, I'm Travis.
Yeah.
This is my CD, and like those kids came to my shows for the next 7 to 10
yeah,
years.
for life.
You know, and
It's
it was
that
like,
personal experience. Like you don't get any more personal than that, right?
and then you know
Yeah.
they'd find a song on MySpace, and then 2 days later they'd get to go to Warped Tour and meet me in person and
Yeah.
have a conversation with
Yeah.
me. And they'd go up to my friend's clothing company, and I mean, I had no choice but to talk to them because I was working there for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But I got to see how it all went down, and you know, just really like build my chops because. You play a show 60 times.
Yeah.
You're gonna get
Totally.
You're gonna get good at
So
it.
that started to work for you. Music at that point was like, okay, this is starting to click.
No, not really. Like
Okay.
it wasn't like financially.
Sure.
No.
Yeah.
But it got when I got back from tour. I think I sold. I think my buddy invited me to Bamboozle to
Yep.
sell some shirts.
Cool.
It was this festival in New Jersey that they did, and I got.
You're
to
like,
play
yo,
in
what
his
size
tent.
tent you got, dude?
Exactly. I got
Is
to
it a
play in
four?
his tent, and that was like the first time I was on the East Coast ever. Like you know, besides Warped Tour, and you know that was cool. But then when I came back, I had a session with this dude that hit me up on MySpace, and we made this song. And my friend owned a record label at the time. It was like a death metal record label. And so when I got off the Warped Tour that first time, he was like, yo, do you want a record deal? And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, man, like we'll give you $1,000. We'll pay for a studio, and you can go and like record in like a recording studio. And I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
No lawyer, no manager.
Sign that shit.
Signed it.
Yeah.
Got $1,000 to go into a studio.
Sick.
All right.
You owe
First
them your
record
life.
deal.
Okay.
What's your not to take you off track? What's your opinion on record deals today? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's a long
I know it's a long thing, but just like a lot of young people are, I feel like now staying away from the record deal, but
Well,
a lot
it's
of
like-
people also have starry eyes about record deals. So what's the balance there? Is it a,
Can you do it yourself? Or, you know, like, or do you need help?
yeah,
Can you fund it yourself? Or look at a record label like a bank. Mm-hmm. You know, like, do you need a loan? Or like, can you fund it? Are you that confident in your music and in the product that you're selling that, you know, it's just going to take this, and this to hit?
yep.
Because if you can retain ownership of it all, it's going to be a lot sweeter. And,
Yep.
you know, if you can call all the shots, it's going to be a lot sweeter because I did it independently. I did it with an independent record label, and then I've been on majors.
Yeah.
And then I've been independent. So, like, I've done it kind of always.
So many more outlets to push things today, right? So many more channels to push things, but also so much more saturation in terms of how many people now
Yeah.
can have access to do that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the chicken and the egg thing.
Well, and
right?
back then, too, it's like I didn't even know, like, how to get my music on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even Apple. Spotify didn't exist. Streaming did not exist.
No, yeah.
Streaming
Yeah.
did not exist. It was literally like I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, they offered me $1,000, and at that time, I'd never seen $1,000. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what for
Yeah.
the songs? dope. I'm never going to get a real record deal. I'm never going to be on a major label. Like, boom, I'll do the Warped Tour thing.
Yeah.
And so we made this song, hated the song. It's crazy how serendipitous this was, man, because so I make my first song in a studio with this guy. And at the same time, I start dating this girl, and she has a really big song on the radio, just like by chance. And the guy that directed their video, like his little brother, had all this leftover music video equipment. And so he hits me up and he's like, yo, man, I got all this camera equipment. Do you want to shoot a music video? I had no music videos before. I'd never done it. And I was like, oh, yeah, but I don't really have a song. I just have this one song that I did yesterday, but I don't think I'll ever put it out because I hated the song. And I was like, but let's just do it for practice, you know? So I spent $100 and it was all in alcohol. Like alcohol bottles okay, for the video.
Yeah.
And we go and we shoot this thing in like 4 hours. Well, the guy who owned the record label ended up getting his number, calling him, getting the footage from that shoot. Mind you, I don't want this song to come out.
Right.
He has an editor edit together this music video. I wake up one day and Fuse, you know, Fuse TV?
Yeah, of course.
I go online and Fuse TV has this music video of me with this song that I never wanted to come out on the front page.
Dang.
It gets 150,000 views the first day.
Dang.
After that first day, I had every single major label calling me.
Wow.
Columbia Records, Universal Records, Warner Brothers Records, Interscope Records. Every single major label was hitting me up that day.
Crazy. Off of some fluke thing that you didn't want to even have.
That I never wanted to come out, never wanted a music video for. I hated the song. It is the bane of my existence. Never played that song live one time.
Yeah.
Wow.
It goes back to kind of
this day?
To this day, I've never played that song. That is some of my fans' favorite song ever.
Yeah,
It's funny, man, when you almost want something too much, sometimes those things never happen, but it's the people who sometimes just don't want it to happen at all that it happens to.
Yeah.
It's just
For
like...
the independent
you know?
label dude that I was signed to my homie, who I thought was my homie at the time.
Yeah.
Not my homie, by the way.
Yeah.
They just wanted money.
Yeah.
Right? Because they owned, I got screwed. And it wasn't until I had all of these labels calling me where then like I had to get this like cell phone manager who then brought me to a lawyer who then when I started sitting down with all these major labels, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm cool. Like it's my homie. I'm signing my homie. They don't care. They told me if I ever get a real record deal, it's all good. And they start going through the contract and they're like, dude, do you know that they own this much? And do you know that this clause is in here? And do you know that you're going to be paying these people for this amount and for this long?
Yep.
And then it was war.
Yeah.
Right? And litigation. And I ended up signing to Columbia Records and I had to give half of my advance to my friend.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first time, I'm a broke kid from Riverside, California, like piss poor, you know, because I hadn't worked at Starbucks in like 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm not making money off music sales because they're keeping everything. You know, and I think I sold like 250,000 singles independently on that one song.
Wow.
Yeah.
They kept I've never, to this day, never seen a check for that.
Yeah.
Ever.
And then you got to put your advance. Half of that goes to
Half
your
of
buddy.
my
Yeah.
advance went to them.
Yeah.
Right. So for $1,000, they made like $200,000.
And you weren't really doing shows. You weren't really doing shows
Wasn't really
to make
playing
money.
Shows.
Yeah.
No. And so I I signed this big record deal to Columbia, but I really had to start over.
Yeah.
What year was that?
2000 and I want to say 10.
10. Yep.
Yeah. 2000.
How old were you?
I just turned 21.
Okay.
Wow.
And that was your first like Columbia.
That was it. But it was
Yeah.
literally 2009. My parents are like, you finish hair school, you have 1 year.
Yeah.
2010, I had a record deal with Columbia Records.
Yeah. Yeah.
So within that 1 year, it was like down to like
awesome.
a
That
month,
happened.
dude.
That's awesome.
I did it.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
pumped
cool.
out an album with Columbia?
So what I did is when I went into the Columbia deal, because I knew like that song popped, so I was gaining crazy amounts of fans. I said, look, I don't want to put out an album. Once again, the biggest Lil Wayne fan, right? Gangsta Grills, the
Yeah.
whole mixtape series.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I want to give my fans free music. Because my old homies over there, they're already screwing me and taking anyone that goes and buys a single. I'm not even getting the money.
Yeah.
So I said, I'd rather spend all of the, the money on making a big album. I'd rather make a mixtape or like a free project and, spend that on marketing and spend that on tour support and spend that on, artist development.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went in and yeah, I made a project, and they spent, Columbia was like behind it. And by the way, it was a bidding war. Like I had 4
You had a decision.
I had a decision to make, and the reason why I went with Columbia was because they were down to let me do that.
Yep.
Did you have somebody helping you make that decision?
Yeah, I had a cell phone manager, just dumb guy who was like a manager.
Kinda helping.
But, he had been in the business since like the 90s.
Yep.
And, I had a lawyer, I had an attorney, and, they kind of like helped me navigate.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, dude, I'm 21 years old. Like, I didn't know what was going on.
So many shady, shifty people in the music industry, too. It's like, how do you know who to find the right person is to help? And I didn't know. When I was young, I was just like...
I was just going with it, man.
Yeah, going with the flow.
I'm going with it.
Exactly.
And yeah, I recorded a free album.
Yeah.
It was an album. I look back on it now, that was an album.
Yeah.
And we gave it away for free.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's really cool. So how was that experience, getting signed to a major label, putting out that EP album, whatever it is, and then how was that experience on top of everything you kind of like had dealt with? Like, had you felt that like that you'd made it in a sense that you'd signed to Columbia, this giant like record label, and then you'd been able to like have a bit of leverage to do what you had to do? Did you feel like you were free or still no?
Yes and no. I had a lot of resentment, man, to my friend. And what's funny is that, in 2012, I got asked to play Warped Tour, and I was like one of like the main acts on Warped Tour, and I had the main stage, and I had a great set time. I had my own tour bus.
Yeah.
I had like 12 people on the road with me. And his business was failing, and I'd have 200-300 kids line up to meet me every single day, and he just had to sit there and look at it.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not getting none of this.
Crazy.
You're not getting none of this.
That's good revenge.
Good revenge.
Revenge is
Success
good.
is the best revenge.
It is, really.
It doesn't get any better.
And it was so funny because, for so long, like they tried to apologize and make things right and all that. And I was just like, no,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was fun for me.
So what comes next after that? Like, because have you moved around on labels? Did you do, because like this is like because right now we're talking about 2011. People don't know, like this was in the gap of social media is just kind of booming, or in the middle, like it starting to boom, and then streaming starting to become a thing. It hadn't really become a thing.
Streaming, I want to say, started what? Like really started hitting 2013.
Probably 2013 it started, yeah.
So around 2013, by the way, like, put out some more music on Columbia. I had a big radio song in 2012 called Vans On.
Yeah.
And that like charted and was like a top 20 record.
Yep.
And I was selling records. It was cool. But it was like right as streaming was introduced. So like I never got like that gold plaque, and I never got like that platinum plaque. It was like kind of in the middle. And so like I start dropping records and then trying to play the streaming game. And then 2015, the president of Columbia, 2014, I think the president of Columbia left.
Yep.
And went to a different label.
As they all do.
It's musical chairs
Yep.
in the music business, right? The guy that's running Interscope today is going to be running, Atlantic in 2 years, and the guy that's running Atlantic is going to be running Universal. It's just, they just all
musical
swap.
chairs, I love that. That's so true.
But when someone brings you in, they're invested in you. But
Yeah.
when they leave and the new guy comes in, he doesn't care.
He wants the new meat and potatoes.
He wants the new meat.
It's a new
he
team.
wants to
It's
clear
a new-
out. So, I'm on there and it's cool, but I'm not Adele, I'm not John Mayer, I'm not Beyonce. Those are my label mates at Columbia.
Yeah. And that's a true fact, though. Like,
100%.
you sit on the table and it's like, there's Beyonce, there's Adele, and then there's T Mills, but you're on the same table.
It's true. It's true. It is true, though.
But if you're not a priority, at a major, and you asked me about signing to a record label, it's like, well, are you a priority,
Yep.
or are you just another act that they're going to bring on, and are they going to throw a plate of spaghetti at the wall and
Totally.
see what sticks?
Yeah.
And so when the new kind of regime switched over, I got left on a back burner, which can be extremely infuriating for an artist, right?
Can you explain like a little bit like what the back burner means?
It means, hey, I got this brilliant idea for this album, and I want to work with so and so, and I want to bring in this dude, and I got this crazy idea for a music video, and this director who just did Taylor Swift and Pharrell is going to direct it. Okay, well, come up with the budget and submit it, and we'll take it to finance, and we'll take it to marketing, and we'll see. So your manager and you sit down and you write out the treatments, and you write out I want to bring this songwriter in and this producer in.
Yeah.
I want to do this, and this is the album rollout I want, and nothing.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo guys, what's up? Like, yo, I'm ready to get working. I just got off tour. I'm home for 3 months. What's up? Nothing. They stop. You call. Oh, so-and-so's, he's at lunch. We'll have him return.
Yeah.
It's this classic Hollywood, label, label and agency, they're all the same. It's just these big conglomerates that work from the Brad Pitts and the Beyoncé's down. And if you're not that golden child, they're just,
And especially now, because of streaming, and labels are just wanting to sign and amass as many things as they can, because if they put their music up on streaming services, it's going to stream, So they're just now trying to go for volume, really.
They'll sign a kid for $10,000. They'll sign 20 kids for $10,000 rather than one dude for $1 million, right? Because 3 out of those 20 kids are going to work.
Yeah.
And they've owned it from the beginning, and they paid nothing for it.
Yep.
And it's going to stream, and it's going to generate millions of dollars, and then they win.
Yeah.
And who cares about those other 17 kids? Because it was $10,000. That's a tax write-off, right? You count that as a loss. It didn't work. But we're not going to let you go.
Yeah.
Because if you go home and you record a hit on your computer and you upload it and it starts making money, we still own it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you navigate that process?
Dude, pretty crazy. So I switched management and I started working with one of my friends. And he was very, very intelligent, and he knew how to navigate the system, right? And he's gone on to do incredible things. He broke BB Rexa. Now he's managing this dude, Ben Platt, who's a star of this Netflix series, The Politician.
Is that Adam?
And, Adam.
Yeah.
And so, started working with one of my best friends. And, Adam he's 2 years younger than me. So my manager, I go from having this 48-year-old manager to having a dude who's 2 years younger than me, young blood, but he got it, right? He got the vision. And it was just yo, enough's enough, man. Come on, either let Travis go or pay for his ideas. And, I will say this, Columbia was great. And now I feel like people are getting one album to either prove themselves or be on the back burner, right? You're going to get shelved off one project. I put out, I think 4 or 5 projects on Columbia, that all necessarily weren't Billboard topping, projects, but they still put, I had a long run on a major label.
Yeah.
So then,
and how many years was that, just in perspective?
2010 or 11 till 2015. So 4.5 years on a major.
That is a long run.
You know what I mean? With no number ones, and they spent a lot of money. I mean, dude, I was asking them to pay for projects for free.
Yeah.
That they weren't making any money on.
Yeah.
And then I'd go on tour and I'd make money, but I didn't have a 360 deal, so I wouldn't have to pay them for any of my merch or any of my tours or anything like that.
Yep.
So I mean, they were pretty much funding my project for free.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
And this guy, Jason Flom, who tried to sign me in the beginning.
Love Jason.
Jason's great.
He's a great guy.
And he does a lot of work outside the music business.
Yep.
He has this nonprofit
Vet Paw, right?
But he gets people out of jail that have been wrongfully convicted. I'm blanking on the name right now.
I'm blanking on it too because I've helped support that organization.
It's crazy. I've been in the car with him when he's giving the money to that guy.
Gosh, dude,
he's incredible.
He's great.
And so I had this record right after I left Columbia, and this. Look, I'm trying to tell Columbia Records yo, I got this song. I want to put either Andre 3000 or T.I. on this record. And Jason's bring it to me. We'll do it. He had a partnership at the time with Universal, which another huge record label. They were in the running to sign me the first time around. But Universal, they're notorious for signing a ton of things, trying one single at radio.
And then out.
And if it doesn't work, if it's not a hit, you're shelved. So I was scared, but I trusted Jason. I was all right, cool. So
They don't know how to develop things. That's the bottom line.
But it's a big business. They don't care about developing. They want the money and they want the ROI.
Fast.
They want turnaround straight away. That's all they care about.
It's a bank. It's a bank, dude.
Yeah.
And so we put this record together. It was called Young and Stupid. It was,
I love that
featuring
record.
T.I.
That was a great song, dude.
And it came out in 2015. And same thing, man. It shot a dope music video. Put it out. It was getting a ton of traction on radio, but at the same time, streaming was really taking over.
Right.
And it literally came down to Universal's department. Jason had nothing to do with this because he fought for me like tooth and nail. But research and development came back and they were like, "Hey, we think it could only get to like top whatever. It's not going to break, top 10 and stuff like that. We're going to pull it now." So rather than spend money to try and chase it to get to the potential, just dead.
What?
So dead in the water, with like it had
everything. I saw the music video.
And yeah, man. And so after that, I was just like, and I didn't sign another record deal. I signed a single. I was very, very like deliberate about that. I was like, I don't want to get stuck in because you don't just be like, hey, I want off the label, Columbia. It doesn't just happen like that. It was months of
process.
It's a process. Yeah. It takes a long time. And I was like, look, man, I don't want to do that because one, it's just draining mentally. Two, it takes the fun out of making music. I was like, look, if we're gonna have a partnership and stuff, let's do this song. If it works and we work well together, then we'll keep going. And so I signed a singles deal. And so once the Universal did that, I was just like, all right, cool.
Can I ask, what do you credit your early success to? Like, what do you credit it to? Like,
I think
what traits,
staying, when I first started going on tour, I would stay after every single show at the merch table and talk to every single fan. Mm-hmm. I'd stay there till literally 3 a.m. Like Troubadour, I remember I played the Troubadour and I had to leave. They were like, yo, it's 3 a.m. Like you got everyone's leaving.
Yeah.
We're like, you got to get out of the building. And so I sat on, Santa Monica Boulevard?
Yeah.
Sat on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Doheny
till,
Santa
till
Monica.
like 4 a.m, dude, just signing stuff.
Yeah. Even before that, like, was there something you credit success even before you had the fans and all this stuff? Like, is there something about you that you feel like?
I don't know. I think I was like overly offensive. Like I was just like such an insecure kid that like my confidence and stuff came from like overly. It was fake, you know. It was like a false sense of confidence, but it came from like me wanting to piss people off.
Sure.
And I listen back on those records and I'm like, oh, that wasn't me. Like I remember, how I felt inside playing those songs, which is ultimately like why I changed, from T Mills. I changed my name when I did the Young and Stupid song, Travis Mills. Yeah. And I was like, that chapter of my life is, not over, but it's just not like the values and stuff that I want to represent.
Of course.
But it's so good to do that. It's so good to like, I honestly, people that live in the past forever. And people that have had a past, which we've all had, but look to the future, have everything.
Well, it's like the high school quarterback, right? That still wears his varsity jacket. And he's like, oh man, I was the man in high school. It's like, well, yeah, okay, but you're like 38 now. Like, why are you still dreaming about...
All of us in this room know those people that have like done something so major, but that major thing in their life, they still have to turn the needle back to that because that's how they identify with themselves. And like one of the biggest reasons I was stoked to interview today is the pivots you've done in your career. Because right now we're talking about, you had a song with T.I. that could have charted to be a #1 song if they had given it the oomph. They rip it from underneath you and say, "No, we're getting it." Then not only do you like pivot yourself into this new world of hosting and podcasting and putting yourself out there, you had the TV show, the show on Netflix, which was awesome.
Which I did that in 2015 too, like during the same time. That's like when music brought me back around to acting.
Right.
Which I never thought would happen.
You were great in that.
Oh, thank you, man.
Because like so many people like cringe and I'm like,
what was that show?
It's called Flaked. It was a Netflix original series.
Okay, cool.
With Will Arnett. And I was like, I'm the biggest Arrested Development fan. I'm a huge BoJack Horseman fan.
Were you nervous?
Dude, so nervous, man. But it was crazy because I was on tour with Ray Shremmerd. It was like we did a tour together in 2015. And one of my buddies was on Saturday Night Live, and he's like, yo, come to Saturday Night Live. I was like, cool. Just so happened to be the night that Kevin Hart was hosting. We go to the after party, and Kevin Hart's manager comes up to the table, and he like sits down next to me, and he's like, yo, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a musician. He's like, have you ever acted before? I'm like, actually, yeah, I have. You know, I'm neck tattoo, fucking hand tattoos, all that.
Yeah.
And he's like, you live in LA? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, gave me his card. He's like, yeah, when you land back in LA, come to my office. And so me and Adam, we went to his office, and he's like, yo, I want to send you out on some auditions. And I was like, cool. Went to an audition. My first audition was for this HBO show called Vice Principals. It was a Danny McBride show. It was like his first show back from Eastbound and Down. And I went in there, and I was supposed to play a high schooler. Obviously, I'm not going to get that role. But the casting director was like, yo, I love you. And she's like, you're not right for this? She's like, but I'm going to bring you back for something. And I was like, okay. I thought I blew it, right? And I'm like, okay. Next week I get a call, and they're like, yo, there's this new Netflix series. It's called Flaked. I go in, do the audition. They send it to the director. They're like, yo, you're getting a call back. Like, you're going to read in the room with Will Arnett. I'm like, wait, what? For real? Like, what?
Did you have to memorize it, or you were just reading?
I mean, I saw my script and stuff. Adam, like, he's so sweet, man. He drove me to the audition. He's like, yo, you're going to be great. I'm, like, shaking. And I walk in the room, sure enough, Will Arnett's sitting there.
Could you read it at least? Or did you have to memorize
stuff?
I
memorized it. I'm weirdly, I'm like freakishly good at memorizing things. And so I was already off book.
Yeah.
And so we do it, and director's in the room, Will Arnett's in the room. He created that series, and Netflix execs are in the room. And they're like, cool, you got the role.
Wow.
And so we shot 2 seasons of that show. And then that led to, like, I did a Hulu show. I did, I think, another Netflix show. I just did Good Girls on NBC. I just shot this Funny or Die show. So, like, that led me to
Perlate into it. Because now it's like, I look at you now, and I look at you now as, because, like, in that era when you were running there, like, there was some music people we know that have gone on to still do music, and some people that have completely just fallen off. And, like, you took your, like, that run you had and your talent, and then, like, you know what? I'm like not gonna back down. You just were able to fall into, and a lot of people do fall into this like entertainment realm of like, I'm kind of a triple threat. And it became along the time of social media. You had some the Flake show, the acting thing, but then all of a sudden the podcasting had like kind of taken off, and the hosting, and you're like a natural host.
Thanks,
so
man.
it's like the beats. That beats thing was such a good fit for you because you're a musician. You've had music that's been at the top. You've been at the dinner table with Beyonce and Adele. It doesn't get any higher. But the realm and where you're at doesn't last forever. But you were able to play that into being this natural kind of host of like, all right, I'm a real musician, so I can sit here and interview real musicians and I can talk the flack, but I can also like take my persona and my personality and make like be an influence of it, which in today's world is like you're a triple threat. You have your own TV show now on MTV, Ghosts.
Ghosted, yeah.
You're chasing ghosts. Yeah. You found a ghost yet?
It's actually, it's about people who ghost people, which, yeah, I've definitely done it, and I'm like the perfect person for it. And so, yeah, I'm just traveling around the country. People send in like video submissions, and it's like it's not just like relationships, it's friendships, it's family members, it's all these things. And I literally track down that person and bring them face to face. And
That's cool.
They like kind of,
How are those experiences in person? Like,
so entertaining, man.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's cool to see people who have been friends for 8 years who haven't talked in 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And sit them down and they find out the real reason why they stopped talking. And it's something like so trivial or it's something like super deep. And they're able to, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they don't want anything to do with that person. But sometimes they're able to rekindle a friendship or a relationship. And one, I thought it was fake. I thought when I signed up for that, I thought it was fake for sure. It is not. It is real.
Yeah.
The season finale is on tonight.
Nice.
So yeah, that's been incredible. But in respect to like the Apple Music Beats One show, it's crazy to me how many artists I have that come on my show now that are just finding success for the first time, right? They have their first song that's like going big and it's streaming really well, and they're like, yo, dude, I'm started making music because of you.
Wow.
And they're like, yo, like you got me into like this, and like, you started this SoundCloud stuff and like all blah, blah, blah. And like, I remember when you did this song with so-and-so, or
Yeah.
I went and saw you in Portland at this tour.
Yep.
And I'm like, damn, like that's crazy.
Cool.
You
Cool
know?
to have that
It's
come around, yeah.
full circle. And I think I just bring like a different perspective to, like you said, interviews, and like it's not even so much an interview; it's just a conversation.
Yeah. Well, it's realness. You've lived in the trenches, so there's no fakeness there. And then your personality and persona is so easy that you kind of carry an industry. So like you can stand up and like, looking at like, I saw Jimmy Kimmel say something today that like the TV host will be dead soon. His job will be irrelevant soon because people like yourself that have come in that are this all-rounded bucket that like tick all these boxes that can do all these different things. And kids would rather tune in to somebody that knows what they're talking about than some random person trying to promote something that they don't even know what they're promoting. They're here because they got paid to be here because they're trying to sell a Tide Pod.
I always hated like going to radio stations and doing interviews with the dudes. Like, hey, coming up in 5 minutes, we got so-and-so. It's like, well, why did you, name this song this?
Yeah.
And it's just like some corny dude who's never made music in his life trying to articulate like the pains and the pleasures of being in a studio, And not only that, but like, dude, if you would have told me like, one, I started producing music 2 years ago, right? Like I never made my own beats or anything like that when I was signed. And 2 years ago, I just started doing it just because it was fun. And this year, dude, my biggest song I've ever had, I produced this year. YK Osiris Worth It. Just went like 2 times platinum. It was like a it was like a top 5 urban record. And I made that beat in my room a year and a half ago with my friend. Just messing around like a Tuesday night.
That's cool.
And I never would, and not only that, full circle, YK Osiris comes on my Apple show. It's just so crazy.
Yeah.
I think you had the kind of ingredients to where without you even knowing it, you're kind of at the beginning of what you're going to do.
100%.
When there's at times when you probably thought you're at the end. At the times when you thought you were maybe at the end of your music or didn't know what to do, how did you deal with that mentally? Like,
dude, I was so depressed. I say this too, like 2016 and 2017 was the worst and best years of my life because everything that I was standing on crumbled. It was the brokest I'd ever been. I was having to sell clothes online to like buy food, so like I'm in like a house that's dope, but like I can't make my car payment and I can't pay my house payment, and I'm selling Jordans on Grailed for like $200 so I could literally go get groceries and pay my internet bill. And then, I don't know. I didn't know what to do. And I put all my money in like, I put all my eggs in this one basket where like, I was like, okay, I'm going to create a TV show. And so I shot this pilot. And everyone's telling me like, oh, we're gonna sell this show. I went to like MTV. I went to Snapchat. I went to MTV2. I went to VH1. I went to Spotify. I went to Jimmy Iovine at Apple Music, and no one bought the show. So I'm sitting at home. It's like 2017. I became friends with this kid, Lil Peep, who we became friends on Twitter. Same thing. He was like, dude, I can't believe you know who I am. I'm such a big fan of your music. I flew him to LA. I got him a house. I started working with this woman, Sarah, who she didn't want to manage me for music, which hurt when she told me that. She's like, I don't want to be your music manager. I don't believe in you as an artist right now. And I was like, damn, because that just crushed my ego. Crushed every sense of my ego.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't want to manage me as an artist? Like, what? She's like, no. She's like, I think you have a great ear. She's like, I think you can really like develop talent and like, what's next. I was like, okay. And literally we had that conversation 2 weeks later. I met Peep.
Crazy.
And I was like, yo, Sarah, I got a kid that I want you to meet. And that kept me afloat for a year. And then Zane Lowe hit me up and I showed him the pilot of the TV show that I couldn't sell. He's like, I want you to come to Apple Music and do this Beats One show. And then obviously, another reason why it was the worst year ever is 2017. Peep, I'm watching this kid, who like I'm getting like all these dope opportunities and I'm giving them to him because I'm just like, oh, dude, this fool needs this.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
You've been down that road.
And like it was weird because like I watched how talented he was and how incredible he was, but how self-conscious he was of himself. And I saw so much of myself in him when I was 19 and 20 and 21. And I would look at him like, dude, you are the coolest motherfucker ever. Like why? Like I don't like why?
How are you this way? Yeah.
Why can't you see that? And the sweetest kid ever, you know. And so I just wanted him to win, and so sent him to Fashion Week, and you know, did all this, and got him pink grills, you know,
Nice.
and diamond teeth and stuff like that. And so when he started popping off, it was like confirmation for me. Like, damn, I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I can spot talent. And then you know he passed. Like he died, right?
Yeah.
You know, right as his star was
Yeah.
rising. And yeah, dude, that was the worst year of my life. And you know, I just kind of kept pushing because, like, you know, you put all your eggs in one basket, you think this thing is gonna work out, and then it doesn't. And then you pivot, and you're like, okay, well, I got this, and I'm just gonna help him, and I'm just gonna, you know, do all
Persistence,
this.
you know, you never know what door's gonna open when you're just going after it. Yeah.
And then it was like when I stripped all my ego out of everything and just started like appreciating I think for so long I wanted people to take me seriously as an artist. I wanted people to be like, oh, he is the best art.
That was your identity.
It was my
Yeah.
identity. I was tied up in like, I have to be this. When people look at me, they have to think I'm this certain way. And as soon as I let that go, like, wait, why can't I also host a show on Apple Music and Beats One?
Yep.
Like, why can't I be respected as that? You know, and then watching it become like one of the dopest shows like on there,
Yeah.
and then like having like some of like the biggest artists come on my show and be like, yo, you're incredible. That has only opened up more doors for me, you know, and then my relationship with MTV and like doing all of these other things, and then coming on and then having my own TV show. Like, it's just crazy, like how you strip the ego and just open yourself up to things, and good things will come.
Yeah.
You know? And now, like, yeah, like you said, like, I'm just excited for what I'm going to do in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that were way more successful than me, you know, 6-7 years ago in music, that I don't know what they're doing now, man.
Right.
Yeah.
It happens that way. Yeah.
I have no idea what they're
Yeah.
doing
Yep.
because they lost their record deal.
Yep.
They're probably living
Back working at
back-
Starbucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then I see it all the time too with these kids that come in and they sign their first deal. They have one poppin' song and they come into my Beats One show. They spend $10,000 on a little chain. They come in, right? 30 kids around them. They got the biggest entourage, right? And by the way, they're getting like 10 million streams.
Yeah.
They have like 10 million streams. Kick their feet up on the desk.
No way.
Oh, dude, all the time. All the time.
Oh my God.
What's up? You know, horrible to talk to. Like, oh yeah,
Oh,
dude, you got this
snap.
dope record. Yeah.
Oh no.
And I'm like, my guy, you're 19. Like, I hate.
What do
to
you do in
see-
this situation? You're just like, you got to bite your tongue and just go.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I honestly feel bad for them.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to tell them, like, save your money, man.
Yeah.
Because in 9 years,
It's.
you're not going to be getting 10 million streams.
I know.
You're going to be living back with your parents. You know, invest your money. Learn how to spend. Look, get a good business manager.
Yeah.
Pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Like, learn before.
Real
like,
life stuff.
Yeah, and these kids come in just overconfident. They think that it's gonna last forever.
Yeah.
They think that they're gonna be able to just keep doing this, and it's like, man, it just goes so much quicker now.
What advice would you have for somebody who's looking to figure out what their thing is? You know, like
Try it, fail,
Yeah.
go and fail.
Yeah.
Fail as many times as you possibly can. If you are blessed enough to still live at home with your parents, if you have an idea, do it.
Yeah.
But don't just half-ass do it.
Yeah.
Do it, and if you fail, that's fine because you don't have you don't have kids that are depending on you. You don't have a house payment to make. You know, do it.
Yeah.
And if it works, great. If it
Yeah.
doesn't, pivot, find something else that you love, and try to make a career out of it.
I love that. We always have a question we ask here on the Find Your Grind podcast as well, which is, what does it mean, Travis, to find your grind?
Oh man.
I know, man. I'm sorry.
I feel like if you're passionate about what you're doing, you'll have no problem doing it. Like, it's not always going to be the easiest thing, but like I was telling you guys before we started, like I just started a food truck, and like I never thought, you know, driving like 30 bags of Cheetos to like my food truck and like, you know, lifting like 4 cases of exotic sodas. Like I'm on the food. Our first 2 weeks, I was scanning inventory, and like people would come up and I was taking their money, and like girls were like, wait, are you Like, aren't you on a TV show? I'm like, yeah, this is my truck. Like, this is my food truck.
That's what happens when you work hard.
Do you love it?
Otherwise, you're working for me.
And they're like, why? They're like, why are you here, like, doing this? I'm like, oh, because this is my baby. Like, I built this, you know? And so, like, did I think I would want to be, like, driving, you know, cases of soda to, like, my food truck and, like, lifting, like, all these pallets of...
Just jumped in and did it.
No, but, like, it's weird, man. I take so much pride and joy in it because I'm building something from the ground up, and because it's, like, it's confirmation of a good idea. Like, I had this idea, I thought it was going to work, and I'm watching it work, and it just, like, makes me want to do more.
Yeah.
I love
you
that.
deserve it, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
You really
Appreciate
deserve it.
Yeah.
I don't think we have many more questions.
No,
I think,
man.
like, you just kind of came home with a big home run right there.
Just came in here and crushed it.
It was fun.
I love it, dude.
It's great.
Well, dude, thanks so much for your time, man.
Thanks for inviting me.
I mean, where can people find you who don't know you at this point?
I think all my socials now are at Travis Mills.
Yep.
So yeah, TravisMills.
Okay.
I got a podcast called ADHD with Travis Mills. You can get it anywhere you listen to podcasts. My MTV show Ghosted is on MTV tonight. By the time this airs, it'll be over.
Love
you
it.
can go watch it.
Congrats
on
on
demand.
that. Yeah.
Watch it on demand.
Dingo and I are going home to watch that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.